So recently, in one of my project, I needed to have a client-side validations for my forms, and not only forms, but also let's say whenever there's an incoming API, I needed to validate it on from the client side itself. So covering those scenario is where like the libraries like the ValiBot comes into the action. Not only ValiBot, but there is one more uh, which we have is the Zod, which is actually quite famous as compared to ValiBot. But in fact, they both are equally the same, and they have most of the same properties. But now the thing is, why I actually started choosing ValiBot is if we go to points, what exactly Zod and ValiBot does is let's say whatever you're writing in TypeScript, right? Now the thing is, whatever you write in TypeScript isn't executed uh, like on the build, right? So to make sure that whatever you write in TypeScript is actually executed in your build, libraries like this come into action. So the thing is, the core function of ValiBot, as you can see, if is to create a schema. So schema is just like how you define a schema, what I say, or the type of any object or whatever the properties which you are going to use in TypeScript. Same way we have to go and define it in ValiBot. But now the catch here is it can be executed at the runtime, so it can guarantee your type data safety. And also, second thing is you can actually extract out the type definition what you have been using. So you automatically get the type of it. So instead of writing TypeScript separate and writing the value this schema or the validation schema separate, you can get the types of it from the validation itself. So this is something new about it. And coming back to this, and what they actually confirm is that it can reduce the bundle size up to 98% as compared to Zod. So what I went to their website. So I went through few of the websites. So basically, just a disclaimer: if you have been watching Zod, then only watch this video, or you can skip it to the next part. Okay, so coming back here, so as you can see, just to create a normal validation, like I will come into all of this in detail, but just to get a normal validation of a login form, so it comes under 0.7 here, and same what they do is they say it comes under 11.51. But comparing with this and Zod, the main thing which they actually confirm is actually they have a 94 reduction in the bundle size. So this is due to the fact that uh, they have additional, like whatever the method function which Zod has, it has additional functionality attached to it. And these are also not removed by the current bundlers which we have. And these things are happening in ValiBot. So this is a good catch. So you can just do npm install ValiBot. So I have installed ValiBot. So in this video, we will be talking about some of the validations, and then we will be talking about some of the method. And before starting this validation and method, we will be starting what exactly the schema is all about. So as I said, schema is all about like the TypeScript which you write, right? So it is defining how your data will look like. Yeah. Let's say we have a login schema, and this login schema has an object. So by default, you can import this object from, as you can see, from ValiBot itself. The login schema will have two things. One is the email and the password, of course. But now to validate them, we need we need to tell them, instead of writing in this, we need to tell them that it's a string, right? So what we do is we tell them, okay, it's a string, and password also, it will be basically a string. Now to define more into it, you can, like whenever you give any of this type of validators, make sure there's only like two things which always comes up. So first is, if you want to have a custom message, you can define it like this, and then what we call it as a pipe, or like the validation message. So um, we can do that. So let's say it's always in array, remember that. And now let's say it's a string. Okay, now it's a string of type email. By default, you get this email validators. From this, we will be coming back to the date list of validators also very quick, but this is one of the examples. And you can also define it that ends with at the rate or gmail.com. So this is how you basically define it. Now for the password, you can do the same. So providing the error message is optional, of course. So let's say it should have a min length of at least three minimum. Okay, yeah. So this is how what is our login schema. Now to do is I create a res. Now here what I do, there are two ways to validate the data. So first way which we are going to use it is called parse. In parse, the first parameter which we have to define is the schema itself. The second parameter which we have to define put is the input itself. So if I add the input, so let's say if I put something in the email and a password. Now one thing if you notice here, I've added my this and password. What I do is I define the rest here. What I do is I refresh it very quick. Okay, so now if you see, whenever you define something in the parse, it always throw error if something is invalid. So as you can see, it gives a value error. So now what I do is I give it an email something at gmail.com and I give a password at 1234567 something like this. And now if you see the log, the rest comes with the data, right? But now what I do is instead of writing at the rate gmail, I write something like this. Now again it will give me a value error. So this is all is happening due to the parse. Okay, but now while we are validating this, now let's say if we don't want to always throw error, instead we want to get whether that data is true or false. Instead of writing parse, what we do is we have something called safe parse. Now even if the validation is fails, it will not throw error anymore. Okay, like how it was throwing, right? Now, if we see our logs here, like we can get over it and we can see that it always returns an object with a success, whether it's success or not. Now, one more thing here is let's say you want to define, okay, it should end with only gmail.com email only, okay? So now what we do is instead of writing at the Gmail, okay, so let's say if I write it, so the first parameter it's the requirement, the end string, and the second parameter is actually the this. So here we have to do the reverse basically. So instead of writing like this, we have to write like this. Yeah. So we are defining the second message as the param. Now if you see, it says Gmail message is only required. But this is not the case for all of them, right? So let's say if you want to provide the error message in here, usually the first email is always the error message. Same goes with the strings. You can define, let's say, instead of passing this, I pass a bool, and it will throw this error message which I have defined. See, now this is what the thing is. Now, what I do now is I refresh now. Let's start from fresh again. So we have covered safe parse, we have covered string, we have covered object, email. Now let's start with some of the nice things. So let's say currently in our this object, right, we don't want the email to be there. Okay, so what we do is instead of writing this whole object, okay, let's say we don't want this email to be there. So what we can do is we can provide something called optional, or we can say that okay, this email what we have is optional. We don't like even if we don't provide it, it's okay. So what we do is I take this whole string, I put it inside optional. So now what we do is even if I don't provide this email, right? See, it will now still give me the success. Even if the email is undefined, it will give me the password. Okay. Now, but if I define the password, if I define the email, sorry, now it will return false because the error which we have said, right? Okay. Now, once we have done till now, let's say instead of writing like this, we don't want the email to be coming every time again and again. So by default, whenever you define a schema, it's always required. So you have to have that value. So if you want to, let's say we want to have only partial value of an object, that time you can give the object itself here. So now even if we don't provide this email, right, it will still work. It will still work how it was working. So I just reload it. See, it provided me the data, email, and the password. Okay. So even if now let's say even if I pass the email, it will throw an error, false. But yeah, this also makes sure that whatever uh, like whatever we have the properties of an object, these are optional, and even if we don't define, it's okay. So just like how we had optional, we have partial for objects. But now coming back to the next thing from the top, if we see, we have covered half of them. Now let's say we want to only pick some of the item from this object, right, from the schema, and this can be only password. It will only make sure that it will only validate the password, and even if I provide anything from here, it will not fail. Even if it's not an email, see, it's still passing me the value as true because it's only picking the password. And similarly, just to give you a hint, it's coming from Typescript. So in Typescript also we have pick and omit. So the second one which we are going to talk about is called omit. So omit works the same, but omit what it does is it removes the password in this case. So as you can see, the result we get is false because it's only validating email. Not only email, it can be any other objects also, uh, any other properties also. Okay, so we have covered till now. Like let's say if we want to make a email now, we can validate the rest of the object. So now you can see the success data which we get is true. To schema, right? Let's say we have something called account schema. So let's say this account schema, it's also an object, but here the thing is it also has the login schema inside it. So that means it also requires email and password. Okay, but here we are also defining something called role, whether it's a admin or a user. So for that, let's say what we do is we want to merge the schema. For that, we have something called merge here, which is actually a method. Okay, so here we have to define a list of array of schemas. So first schema which we want to merge is login schema, and the next one which we want to have is an object which will basically have a role, and it will be of enum type. This can be of whether of admin or it can be of user, which is a normal user. This is the login schema which we had with the email and password, and it also tells whether that schema is an object, and it provides the rest of the values. Now I want to show you the account. Now in the account schema, we do have the email and password from the login schema, and we also have the role which is basically of type of enum. Okay, and which accepts two values. Okay, now what we do is let's enable this again. Okay, and now what we do is instead of this, we can have the account schema back here. If you see, it will give the result as false. Let me just show output the result because email is required. Okay, so Nitesh TMR 66. So this is my email. Okay, it will still give me false. Okay, because invalid type of role. Okay, so here I have to define something called role admin. Now we see we get the it as success, and we get all the data. So this is how you can use ValiBot in your code. So I think we have covered all of them right now. Like if you go to API reference, you get all the schemas which we have talked about, and they have also nice methods here which we have. So like it has been taken mostly from the Zod, but the way of writing is quite unique. So that's a good point. I liked it in ValiBot, to be honest. And then coming back to validation, we have also for emojis, and same for IP and many more, which you can see. So yeah, we have also transformations here. But one thing which you might notice here is currently we don't have any documentation yet, so it's coming. But just a quick tip, if you're new here, so whatever, let's say you have a doubt or like how to begin with, you can, what I did was, let's say if you want to have go with omit and you don't know how this omit works, you go to Zod and you can just type control F, and you can understand okay how this pick and omit works. So whatever they are writing with chaining, you can write it as an function itself. That's the main difference. Yeah. So that's it, guys, for watching this video. I hope you like this, and if you want more videos, let me know in the comment below. Thank you. Have a nice day.